Great to see everybody online here on Zoom. I'd like to welcome you very much to the start of Module 1 of the seismic course. And it's great to have you all here. I have muted you just by default. If you want, if you have something, if you see something that is wrong, you can unmute yourself, but otherwise, let's have a go and listen to what's being said. I welcome you on behalf of Marios and myself. So Marios will be doing the webinar, also this and the following ones. And this is on behalf of the whole seismic team, which is Geraint Thomas, Phil Lewis, and Hannah Heaven, the administrator, who was already in contact with you. So assuming that you all have MATLAB installed and are ready to go, I would like to hand over. Marios, can you please take over and give us a quick overview of how to get going?
Sure. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the seismic program. I'm Marios. I used to be a participant at this program like 6 or 7 years ago. It was in 2015, and then I got involved into teaching this program, marking some of the projects, and we will be now teaching this program. So we will be together for the next few weeks in terms of the lectures. It's one lecture. I mean, you already know the schedule, right? It's one lecture every 2 weeks. It's gonna be every Wednesday, same time. Gerald, correct me if I'm wrong, and obviously if anything comes up, if anything changes, you'll be notified. To be honest, I'm very excited to be part of this initiative. Seismic is a well-established program. It has a really well-defined material, and thousands of students have enrolled to the program so far. I mean, since the beginning of the program a few years ago, and they are actively gaining skills during the program and using those skills during their research or elsewhere in their lives. Biosciences in general has become, I mean, during the last 15, 20 years, at least 20 years, much more quantitative. And this opened new ways to follow in research. So quantitative skills have become essential nowadays, and I guess that's why you are here. At this point, I would like to invite Gerald again. Maybe, I mean, he kind of introduced himself so far. Maybe he can introduce the other members of the team and also give us some content, the context regarding the motivation behind the creation of this program.
Well, as far as motivation is concerned, I leave that all to the audience, if they are motivated or not. I don't want to take much of your time. It's 3 parts that we have. We'll start after this sort of basic introduction to use MATLAB. We do network science, which is a set of lectures just to introduce network biology, and then do some mathematical modeling. And in the 3rd part, we'll have statistics in another programming language, which is R. The whole thing stops with a final project where you are able then to apply what you have learned and abstract from the MATLAB details like that we're going to do now into biological thinking, where you're then using programming to do biology. And that's about it. Yes, hand over to Marius again. Let's have a look at maybe the course website where you find the materials.
Thanks, Gerald. Before getting to the structure and the content of the program, I'd like to hear from the audience whether they would prefer let's say, a more interactive session, or a kind of more standard seminar. It's kind of a market research or whatever, so I know how to create the next sessions. I mean, I know that during the past months you are much more familiar, much more involved in online seminars instead of physical ones, and I understand that most of the people are getting tired much easier. But how do you like to work? Is it like an interactive way, or would you prefer just a typical seminar? Can you please take a minute to note down in the chat, like interactive or typical, so I can understand for the future and use it in the future. Gerald, can you see the responses? Because I
Yeah,
can,
I can see. We're split so far.
For a reason, I cannot see the responses.
I can see.
Anyway,
you can only reply to Gerald.
All right.
It's a setting that I have. Okay. It's. I saw that. Yeah, it said to me.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, if you've got the stats, would people prefer a typical lecture or an interactive one?
It's very split at the moment. Interactive only. We can interact. So it's like half, I would say. So just start by you doing things today. Just get going now.
Indeed. All right, let me try to share my screen. Great. So people, you can get into the screen that I'm right now by signing in into the Seismic website. I guess you are all familiar with signing in. Great. Okay, yeah, I see some people noting. All right, so there are 4 different tabs here. Let me get through them one by one. It's very straightforward anyway. So at the home tab, you can see the structure of the program, what we are gonna be dealing with throughout the program. So we are gonna go through networks at the beginning. It's some introduction to the MATLAB. We are gonna do some introduction today, but the very basics, and then we are gonna start the week after to get into more details. Networks, it's a big lecture, so we are dividing it into networks 1 and 2, and then vectors and matrices. I'm not sure if most of the people are aware or if they've got some experience into MATLAB or R or Python at all. I'm not gonna spend more time doing more marketing research or whatever, but if there are any people who are any kind of familiar with MATLAB, please write it down in the comments so I can get a feeling. For the rest of you, I'll think that you don't have any experience with this type of programs. The second phase of the lectures is regarding maths and modeling. That's the reason of using MATLAB. I'm gonna come back to this later, but yeah, if it's for calculate more extreme calculations and modeling, this is where MATLAB or the other programs come in handy. Then you'll have the choice to decide on which of the next programs languages you need to proceed with. There's the option of R, which is a statistical language, and the choice of Python. For those who choose statistics, I guess I will be the one providing the lectures. For Python, it's gonna be a colleague of mine. And at the end of the program, there's always the mini project. You are gonna have to decide one of the options of the projects to proceed with, and you'll have some time to finalize it and submit it for revision, for marking. Sorry. Going to the second, I'll come back to the homepage and get into the each of them. I mean, into the what to do to this session, the assignment details, so we can understand what you should be doing throughout the project. But for now, let me get to the quizzes tab. The quizzes tab is where you can find some the quizzes and some self-assessment material. These are not being scored. You're not gonna get a grade on these quizzes. It's just for you to assess your knowledge and to revise some things. Of course, if you've got any questions on this, you can contact us directly and let us know so we can help you. I'll explain how to contact us in a few minutes. For each of the sessions, there is the online tutorials. There is, I mean, in the online tutorials tab, you can find the links to previous video tutorials. I guess Gerald, please confirm that is gonna be uploading each of these recorded sessions as well. Gerald? All right,
Yeah,
anyway.
we're recording every video webinar, and we're putting the link of the recording on this site just under the lesson where it belongs.
Great, great. So people can revise it on their own time, even for those who are not able to attend, but please try to attend. You will also have the chance to ask questions towards the end of each session. And yeah, indeed, it's your chance to get straight away some answers. So yeah, if I just scroll down, we can see that introduction to MATLAB. There are some short videos in different parts. If I scroll down to networks 1 and 2, there are again some videos there. By clicking them, a new window pops up, and you can watch the video as many times as you need. Getting back to the home tab, so we can start exploring some of the information here. Let me get, let's say, into networks, for example, what to do this session. And you've got the information in the window that opens next. By clicking on the web or PDF, you can download the textbook, the material that you will be working through on the throughout the session. Let me come back to this in a second. There's always an assignment for each of the sessions. So at the end of each session, you will have to get into the assignment and get it done. It will be scored, and you will. I'm not sure, Gerald. Do they receive any mark for this straight away, or is it?
It's just checked for consistency, and if we pick up some serious errors, we give feedback, but there's no marking or anything.
Okay, great. So it's for us to test if they about their understanding, and if they don't understand anything, we get back and explain it again. Again, at the end of the of the window, you can see again some quizzes and self-assessment material. You can use this for your benefit. Always, if you've got any questions, you can get in contact with us at the forum. So there's always the forum tab under each of the sessions. So by clicking on the forum, you will be able to add a new discussion topic or have a look around. Maybe your question has already been answered in the past. We try to be as fast as possible, so you get the answer to your question as fast as possible. Getting back to the what to do this session, by clicking on the PDF or the web here, you will be directed into the textbook. You will have to select which one you want to be working on. Let's say the networks one. It's about biological examples of some networks, and there are you can see. I mean, every time you will be working with MATLAB, don't see this solving mathematical equation or solving mathematical exercises. Don't always see it like this. Try to relate each new thing that you learn back to your biology. How does this thing that I learned today be used to solve some of my biological questions in my research? This is what you should be thinking. And in order to understand what you are learning about, try to understand the biological reasoning behind each of the exercises. As you can see, it's very straightforward. You can just start reading from the beginning and going line by line. It's very helpful. I mean, it's very self-explained content, and then somewhere in between the text, you will there are some exercises, some for you to work on in order to get your understanding knowledge. If you learned anything or if you need some more revision on it. There's always the solution by clicking on the buttons below. Try to give it a go before seeing the solution. Try to test yourself whether you understand it or not, and then you can just check your answer straight away by clicking on the solution, or revise it by getting the correct answer there. If you still don't understand why this was the correct solution or why this was the answer, get in touch through the forum with us so we can understand. What I would like to give you here, and like a small tip, try to form small teams with your colleagues. I'm not sure if you are all individuals or if you came here from the same university or as teams, but try to form some teams and ask each other. Most of the times people get it easier from their colleagues. I mean, if they are same age or similar minded, you tend to get it easier from your colleagues instead of from the lecturer or whatever. It's a win-win situation for both the lecturer acting student and the student who learns from their colleagues, because they will also foster their knowledge uh, and their understanding of the concept. They will become the lecturer, and this is when they understand 100% about a specific context. This is it in terms of the uh, textbook. Gerald, maybe do you want to add anything up to this point, or I'll ask the people if they've got a couple of questions at the moment before proceeding into the MATLAB workspace.
No, I think that's fine, except that you can see the templates for the assignments. Every assignment has their template, but if you read the instructions, you will but just naturally get there.
Yeah, I'll get back to this in a second when we
Yeah,
are gonna get into the MATLAB workspace.
yeah, let's have a look
Uh,
at MATLAB.
Sorry.
Sorry, I was just wondering, so I'm planning to go through all the quizzes and I can repeat that. I was wondering, what are the formal assessments of the course? Like, what are the things like we have to complete by deadlines or stuff like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So indeed, for the quizzes, you can go through them as many times as you need in order to understand, to get the knowledge needed. In terms of the assignment, you only submit it once. As Gerald said, anyway, you are not gonna get a mark on this assignment. It's just for the team, for us to see that you are not lacking knowledge, you are not staying behind, you are following the lectures, you are following the team, you don't have any limitations on the knowledge. So if we realize that, okay, Jacob, for example, has lack of the basics, we are not gonna leave you there. We'll understand this from your first assessment. Someone is gonna get in touch with you and explain how things work and make sure that you get the knowledge needed. If we see that most of the people didn't understand a specific context, maybe we can either add an extra session for everyone or spend some time from the next session to revise some of the things of the previous session in order for everyone to understand. Thanks, Jacob, for your questions. For the rest of the team, if you've got any more questions, please write in the comments so Gerald can help us by replying on the background. At this point, I would like to share my MATLAB screen, but before doing this, by clicking on it's what Gerald tried to mention a few moments ago. In the assignment section of each session, you will see the MLX file. This is the template that Gerald was referring to for each of the assignments that you will need to submit. You will have the template. By clicking on this file, it will get you into MATLAB. We'll get there in a second. You will be able to follow the instructions there. It's very straightforward. Again, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen now and start sharing the MATLAB screen. Give me a second. All right. Have you seen this in the past, or is it the first? Okay, yeah. I didn't manage to see your previous response. Let me try to do a small guidance, a very short one. We've got some tabs, sorry, at the top of it. It's the home, the plots, one of the favorite ones, the apps. Starts from the beginning. At the home screen, we can see, let me get back to this in a second. We've got the layout. I mean, you can change the layout of the window as you prefer it to be. I like to have the script here, which is the one that I'm showing you now. I'd like to have the command window at the bottom, the workspace, and the current folder on the left. I'm going to explain what what each of them is, and then I'll get back to the tabs. So the command window is where we write the commands, and we get the answer straight away. Let me just show you something very basic. Let's say 1 plus 2. If we want to use MATLAB as a calculator, a standard calculator, 1 plus 2, we just press enter and we get the answer. It can get more complex, but yeah, let's start with the basics. The editor above, where we can write the script, is where we can write some scripts and save them. for later. In the command window, whatever I wrote here is just for now, and if I don't copy and paste it anywhere else in order to have it, I lose it the next time I close and open the MATLAB window. So if you want to write a script and save it, which is what you can see here, these are some scripts that I used to write in my other projects that I'm working on. So you can write your scripts here and save them and open them. They will have the .m extension, and you can open them anytime you need and work on them and run the code every time needed. So for now, if I just start typing here, test for example, actually, if we want to write some comments, we always use the percentage symbol. So I can just type anything I want without getting any errors. If I just write test and try to run this, I'll get the unrecognized function. This is an error. I'll actually, let's mention it now as we are here. This is why MATLAB is so powerful. I mean, apart from all the other functionalities, it lets you know in which line you've got the error, what kind of error was it, and so you can either recognize it straight away and correct it if it's maybe a misspell or whatever, or you can copy and paste the error into Google and search for it and get the answer straight away yourself. Otherwise, if you don't manage to get an answer, then you can get in touch with one of your colleagues who is more experienced maybe, or one of us, so we can help you with getting the answer. As said, I can save this function and store it for later. Getting to the workspace by creating new variables or other objects, they will be stored in the workspace. That's why I like to have it on the left of my screen, so I can see at any time with what kind of variables I'm working. For example, if I assign variable a, which is, let's say, the 1 plus 2 that we did in the past, and run this script, sorry, and yeah, run this script, you can see that the new variable was generated and stored at the workspace. As I started typing this here, let me get you a bit of context. So each time we want to assign new variables, we write the name of the variable. So variable name, we don't leave any spaces in between the variable names. So it's either have it as a connected name as a one word, or you can use, this is what I find useful most of the time, I use the underscore to separate the words, but you can still see that it's one variable name at the moment. Then you use the equal sign in order to let it know what would you like to assign into this variable name. Let's say we can use the random, and I'll use number 10, for example. This will create a matrix which is 10 by 10 size with random numbers. This is what this rand function will do for us. By running this script, you can see below the answer that we created a variable with the variable name, or whatever. It could have been random matrix, and then run it again. This is the name of the variable, and you can see below the random numbers. You can compare the two and see that they are indeed random. And each time I run this script, it will create different random numbers. Okay. I just realized that I ran the script and I didn't explain how to run it. On my Mac, I just press the command and enter at the same time. It's a shortcut I find very useful. Otherwise, you will have to get into the editor tab at the top and then either run the full script or select it and or run the section. I'll let you know what the section means, or yeah, or select what you want to run in order not to run the whole script, and then press the command enter. It will only run the one that you selected. If you don't want if you don't want the answer of the function that you just used to appear on the bottom of at the command window, you just add the colon at the end of each line. This will not show the answer below. Let me do it for both the A and the random matrix. I'll run them both. I received the answer. Let me change the name so you can see that we will random matrix, let's say 111. I'll run them both again by pressing the command and enter. You can see that we created the new variables here, but you don't see the information. You suppress it from being shown on the command window in order not to mix things up. Getting at the top left window, it's the current folder. It's where you can see the files that can be found in the folder that you are working at the moment. To see the directory that you are working at the moment, you just type the pwd print working directory, and it will give you the answer where you are at the moment. If you want to change the directory, let's say change directory, cd, and then type the directory where you want to get. At the current folder, as said earlier, you can see the files that are found within each of the directories that you are working at the moment. If you are trying to recall some of the files here, for example, if I want to work with the Ethiopia 2016, that file here, and I'm in a different directory, let's say I'm here, it will give me errors. It will not recognize this file, and it will give me an error that it cannot find the file I'm referring to. So you will always have to be on the correct directory in order to find the files needed. Pay attention into this. Getting back to the tabs at the top, in order to run the whole script, as said, you just press run. Otherwise, the script, the sections that I was mentioning earlier, here I can just type two percentage symbols at the same time, one next to the other, and this shows that from that point onwards it starts a new section. If I add another here, two more percentage symbols here, it will start a new section. So the previous one is a different section on its own. So by clicking on the run section, it will run only the section that I'm at the current moment. And in order to know in which section you are, the MATLAB is getting a yellow background for you to easily spot which section you are working on at the moment. If we get to the Home tab, you can see you can see some of the functions that you can easily use, like the new script, in order to create a new script like the one we are working at the moment, or to save the workspace, or to I don't know what else you want to do. However, for most of them, or open or create new you decide what you want to create, either a script or a function or whatever. However, I don't usually use those. I mostly open them by typing the code here. We are gonna get more familiar as the module progresses. In the plots section, it's a very interesting tab, because you can see all the various plots that you can that you will be able to use. You either click here and use it, or you just type the code yourself here. As you can see, when I clicked on the plot I wanted to, on the graph I wanted to create, MATLAB created for me here the actual code in order to create the figure that was created here. I'm sure you don't understand anything about I mean, you cannot explain this figure. Me neither. It's just random numbers, and that's why. But maybe we can do a heat map with these random numbers. It's gonna be more. Let's actually do. It's a heat map, and then I'll use this name. Each time you want to do a new function, you just write the name of the function. Heat map is a function. It could be just plot, like the one you can see here below, the one which was created from MATLAB when I clicked on the figure here. So I am gonna get back to heat map, and then in the brackets you write the name of the variable that you want to use. The variable that I'm using is any of the variables that I used earlier, and then you just run this code. It will take some time and create the heat map. So you can see the heat map created with the random numbers. It's a 10 by 10 matrix heat map based on the values that are within this matrix. The values are from 0 to 1. That's why you can see only these numbers. Yeah, in the live editor, I'm gonna paste the information here. I'm gonna run the script here, and we'll be able to see it. Yeah, you can see the heat map here, the one that I was referring earlier. And as we are at this point, let me just write the plot as well, so you see the other one that I was talking about earlier. Yeah, this is the one I was talking about earlier, and I said that I don't get anything here because it's random numbers. As you can see here, I'm working on a live script instead of a normal one. And with the live script, you can see straight away the responses and the answers to what you are typing on the right-hand side. the tabs that we were working with, going to the apps. These are some other apps embedded into MATLAB, which you can use for specific actions, specific reasons. I don't think we are going to be using any of them throughout the module. Actually, we can use some of them, but let's see how the sessions be. I'd like to stop here because there are 10 more minutes, and maybe you've got some questions, or maybe we can recap. Gerald, is there anything you need to add here before opening the floor to questions for the attendees?
No, just that it needs some getting used to it. It's a very powerful environment with many, many features, and it's a matter of practice. So over time, getting used to it by playing with it or by just exploring things is the best.
Yeah, I'll actually have some tips to share with the people. One of them is that, I mean, I also went through the same seismic program. I learned a lot of things. I mean, I learned the basics to start with, but then in terms of the more complex things, you have to ask people and you have to play around. You have to get a lot of errors again and again and again until you find how you will how you have to type the code in order to get the answer. So try to put some effort into working with it, playing around with MATLAB in order to start understanding what's going on. Throughout the seismic project, you will be dealing with it a lot. So you, by the end of the program, you will be familiar with MATLAB and you will be ready to proceed into more complex actions. What I was mentioning earlier as well is try to discuss with each other as the program goes on and as you are working with the material. Try to discuss with each other what you learned today, what difficulties you have. Try to explain to your colleagues that did not understand a concept. As said earlier, this will help them to get the information easier, better from colleagues rather than from lecturers. And as said earlier, this will help you foster your knowledge, foster the information on your mind. You know it 100% when you can when you are able to transfer this knowledge to your colleagues. When learning something new, try to always relate it back to your research. Ask yourself the question, how can I use this information on my research? How can this be of my use? When you are working on the scripts that I mentioned earlier, and by the way, I forgot to show you, this is the template that Gerald mentioned earlier. This is the assignment that the kind of assignments that you will have to work through. Type your answers here and then save it and send it into the seismic team through the submission links at the seismic website online. So by clicking on the link that I showed you earlier before sharing the MATLAB screen, it will open this MLX file. You will be able to type your name here and then start working. It's very straightforward. You start reading from the top and then getting down, you type your answer here. The answer is the codes. You will have to write the code, your coding here, and proceed. By typing your code in here, you will get it's like working on the MATLAB. You are actually working on the MATLAB. So whatever code you type here, you can run the script and you can get the answer on the command window below. You will be able to go through to follow the steps through the script and type your answers here. Once done, you can submit it, save it, and submit it to the seismic team. What I was trying to tell earlier, like tip when getting an answer in a task you are working, and when getting the answer, even if you get it correctly, don't go straight away to the next one. Take a moment to think whether you understand 100% how you got there. Otherwise, spend some more time to revise it. And one of the most important tips that I can give you is to always learn by doing. So have the MATLAB or R or Python or whatever program you are working on, have it open and practice while reading the learning material for seismic. While reading through the textbook, have MATLAB in a new window open next to you and work on it and try to implement what you are reading. This is the best way to learn. And always remember that Google is your friend. You will, I mean, let's say in random numbers, if you learn from 1 to 10 knowledge, that's a knowledge scale for MATLAB. If you are, by finishing the seismic, you will be at number 2, for example. You will start increasing and scaling up this ladder by using Google a lot. Thank you, people, for your time and for your patience. Yeah, it was the first lecture. I'm always stressed at the first one, but yeah, the next lectures are gonna be much more easier to follow.
Next week we'll check whether you can change your directory actually.
Yeah, next time. Indeed. Well, thanks very much, people. Thank you all.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.